Hey everybody, welcome to Season 2, Episode 8. In this episode, I bring one of my favorite guests and one of my favorite people ever. And she brings a great movie, and there's vision gets blurry, hearts are squeezed, and there's lots of laughter. So stay tuned.
Feelings in Flannel is hosted by us. I'm Adam.
I'm Amelia.
And we are a father-daughter combo who are setting out to debate the merits of love, romance, humor, and faith in RomComs new and old.
Listen and join us as we seek to name the top 5 RomComs and discuss masculinity and femininity together and how that plays into role. Make sure to like and subscribe and share it with your friends on social media.
Stay tuned. Welcome back to Feelings in Flannel, Episode 8.
Welcome.
You all right?
Yeah. You just started really abruptly. I wasn't ready. But today we have my guest. And technically...
Your guest?
Yeah, she's mine. The last one was yours.
She's literally mine.
That was kind of a heart squeeze, not gonna lie. But anyways...
Boy, we're starting early.
Anyways, my guest, she's basically your half, but really she's my half too, because we're like, the math is mathin'. We're very close. That's the point of what I'm trying to say, but I'm not getting there. I'm not good at summarizing. I prefaced that in the last episode. But anyway, I'm excited about this guest, although there is some concern that if we get stuck in a laughing cycle, we may not get out. And the episode may just be laughing, and that's okay. We'll bring you joy that way. But I'm excited about this one. I don't know what the movie will score, but...
Hey, we'll see. But here's the thing. Our guest tonight is my beautiful wife and Amelia's...
beautiful mother.
Incredible mother, Amy Binkard, who self-proclaimed not a movie person.
That's true.
Oftentimes, Amelia and I, if Amelia's watching or in the house with us, we'll start a movie. We'll start a...
Which is every day. Yep, I still live at home, folks.
You have your apartment.
Yeah, that's true, but I don't be back
Sometimes
there.
You're there.
It gets lonely.
You don't be back there? Are you serious right now? Stop it.
You're starting the cycle. Stop.
Sometimes I don't be back there. What the heck?
I work with kids that think they're in a gang, okay? It's not my fault. They talk like that all the time. I'm sorry, I won't be influenced anymore.
Okay, well.
I don't spend my time back there unless I'm sleeping.
You don't, but to the point. Sometimes we'll start a movie. Often we start a movie or we'll start a show, and then 5 minutes later...
Where's Mom?
Amy's vanished. She's nowhere to be found. She has made her way to somewhere else to scroll Facebook. I have no idea what you're doing or reading. You are self-proclaimed not a movie person.
That is true.
Yet you decided to bring a movie and enter the arena. And you had some interesting process in choosing a movie. I think you chose 6.
It was an annoying process is what it was.
Yeah, it was like a text message to saying, I'm choosing this, I'm going with this. And then a message that night, changed my mind. This happened a few times. So.
It's my prerogative.
It's your prerogative. So what are you bringing? Well, actually, let's not talk about that yet. Why did you struggle so much to choose a movie?
I don't know. This is a lot of pressure.
I know the answer to this. It's because...
Enlighten me.
I will.
Let's turn counselor on Mom, see what happens.
Yes.
I'm out.
She said, oh, God. Because I think...
She's like, I ain't trying to be here.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no. If
We
you
got the
start
snort. Now we need to bark.
barking and snorting, stop it.
Anyway, so...
Zen.
The strength of the Lord. Oh,
So why do you think?
So anyway, I think it's because originally she wanted to come on kind of like Aiden did and Ben to just prove a point or to knock Pitch Perfect down. So
Haters.
since that's happened, she was trying to she worked so hard to watch a movie, and she was like, if it's not getting 7, I'm not bringing it. So she watched a lot of movies to find it. So I think that's part of the struggle.
That's part of it. But Ben was the agent of change.
Yep.
Thank you, Ben Conrad.
So she's
Yeah,
just
thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
So what do you think? I mean, that's Amelia's opinion. That's part of it. What took you so long to pick a movie?
I don't know. I was putting a lot of unnecessary pressure on myself because originally you guys were like, you should be one of the guests. I'm like, that's not necessary. You guys have other people that you can pick. And
we won you over.
And then here I am. So
What made you decide to say yes?
Peer pressure.
peer pressure. Because people would be so disappointed in me. They'd be like,
People be disappointed?
you didn't do your husband and your daughter's podcast? What kind of wife and mother are you?
For real. I mean, I was thinking it.
That's just wrong.
Thank you.
You were thinking it too.
I was not.
What movie are we talking about?
First, I would like to at least let the viewing
Lord.
audience know that we won. The masses won.
Fight the power.
Ben was the agent of change and got Pitch Perfect nixed from
Ben really
the top
is my
5.
friend.
I challenge anyone to go to YouTube and look
Don't
at that
even
episode
try
and
to
count the
start
votes.
this nonsense.
That's what I want you to do is go count the yeses, count the nos. I'm
Ignore
calling for a
delivered
recount.
media. Ignore Escaping the Chains podcast. Ignore,
Oh, yeah.
You can't,
Okay,
you
listen.
Can't go through all those
Audience.
I'm actually on microphone right now,
cheaters.
and
the cheaters. RJ,
The
get on out of
voice
here.
from behind the curtain speaks. You know what RJ
speaks.
just said? He said, "You're not going to take my voice. You just said they don't matter. That's cruel. That goes against everything that my business is built on."
we do matter.
Shameless plug.
This is what
We
this is
matter.
what we live with.
So I'm calling for a recount. We
Nope.
can visit
Well,
that
that's
episode.
been denied. Pitch Perfect is gone.
Denied.
that was,
I hope that was on camera.
She said,
What is happening? Stop it.
people act weird in front of the camera. It's true. They lose themselves. They lose themselves in front of celebrities. So kind of we're like
That's
celebrities.
true. Yeah,
Yes.
that's true.
yeah.
I feel honored by this.
Okay, so yes, okay, we can move past that. Pitch Perfect lost the vote technically because
is
we gave it
gone.
a 7-day window, and all of the people that support Pitch Perfect
My
didn't
people
show up to
rose.
vote. But that's okay. So Pitch Perfect's out, but that is irrelevant to this conversation. But thanks for bringing
It was
up.
necessary.
She only talks about it every day
Because
at home. Pitch Perfect doesn't need to
It's
be
like
there.
this thing that's hanging out there whenever you guys talk about the new list. It's not even mentioned. And people are like, where did it go? It was a big topic. It's gone, thanks to
That is
Ben
a good
Conrad.
point. Anyways,
You're welcome.
So what movie are you bringing then? Now that you've made your point, bringing up
holding that
things
in.
from the past.
That's what I do.
Gary, if you're listening, Amy and I may need another counseling session soon.
I got you guys. I'm like, Dad, stop.
Yeah, what are you bringing?
I am bringing Sierra Burgess as a loser.
Sarah Burgess is a loser.
He did that on purpose.
I know, and I can't go over there and do anything about it. So
What is it called? What would you do?
I can't say that on camera. People from
Good
church
Lord.
watch.
Sierra Burgess is a loser.
Sierra Burgess. is a
I had
loser.
never even heard of this movie.
Well, then you're welcome.
Nor had I seen it. Had you?
Yep, I've seen it once before.
Yep.
I can't remember if I watched it with you.
You did.
I did. All right. It's either I watched it with Mom or the Wrangles with Beanie because we watched. That's all we watched was Barbie and RomComs, which Barbie is RomCom. So that's
Okay.
I couldn't remember if
It's
I
a
saw it.
Netflix exclusive.
Barbie's a
so-
rom-com, but Pitch Perfect isn't.
I meant Barbie's Love. I watched Love growing up. I retract my statement.
Okay,
Anyways,
so Sierra Burgess is a loser is the
Yes.
movie. So as you already know, because you watch every episode twice.
No, watch once, listen.
Okay,
Again.
well, whatever. You're a faithful fan. So you know how this works. So run it down. Your camera is right here.
Well, here's the problem. I, like Amelia, am not good at summarizing.
Well,
so
give it a
this might
shot.
be
Let's
bad.
watch.
This might be bad. Okay. Overall gist of it is it's a high school setting. So Sierra Burgess is kind of a nerdy outcast, a girl who would not be considered popular, a little overweight, and she. I'm trying to think of how to. I'm terrible.
I think I'm better. At least I keep talking.
Anyway, so she does tutoring, and so she had posted, you know how you like post a thing on a board that has the little tags that you can rip off with your phone number on it. She listed her thing for tutoring, and the mean girl, the popular girl, like ripped all the numbers off and shoved them in her purse. And later, she's passing her number out to just random guys because she's a cheerleader and guys want her number, so she passes them out, which then sets up for an encounter where somebody texts her thinking they're texting the head cheerleader, and they get Sierra Burgess, who is not who people are going to be texting if you're not
It
already
was
her friend.
fate, basically.
Yes. And so all of that entails they create a relationship through text, mostly only, which is kind of like Love is Blind,
phone call.
where you don't see the person, you just get to know them without visually seeing them. And then the movie carries on, there's a big blow up, and then an HEA. Happily ever after.
Hee-haw. Anyway, but yeah, but the thing is, he thinks he's in love, or he thinks he's talking with Veronica, the cheerleader, the whole time. She's too scared to say it's actually not her because she's insecure about herself, and she's like, if I make myself known, he's probably gonna be like, oh, see ya.
Right. So,
All right, there we go.
I mean, a lot happens in between, but that's the best I can summarize.
A lot happens in this movie for sure. So before we get to the criteria, why? Because we watched it. I think it's certainly a rom-com. It's more rom than com. I think.
Right, which is rare for me. Normally, I'm
Doesn't
way
have
more
a
calm.
ton of comedy in it, but it is. There are some funny parts.
Correct.
So, given the fact you're not a movie person, and if anytime you watch a movie, if it doesn't make you laugh every 5 minutes, you get bored. Why this movie?
I will explain that at the end. That's how I'm going to wrap.
You're gonna rap? She be rapping?
This is going to be a thing for at least a week.
Just
All
leave
right.
me alone.
A week.
was
It's
a
going to carry
mistake.
through the rest of season 2. All
It
right.
isn't that much longer.
So let's hit the criteria. Let's
Let's
start with creative and patient pursuit.
He tried to start with the hardest one or something.
No. That's the one I always forget about, and
true.
it has to remind me. So creative and patient pursuit. What do you think?
Oddly enough, I didn't do a whole lot of notes on this, and I just put, I think both. Because there was a creative and patient pursuit. So it gets both.
Your argument is, I think both.
I think our movies are safe. Might as well
I'm
end the
saying-
episode.
I think it was both. There was a creative
I'm gonna go
and
with
a
no.
patient
Tell me
pursuit.
you're a 9 without telling me you're a 9. That's what that was. For the Enneagram,
bring
those of you who don't know.
Enneagram nonsense into this.
Nonsense. It's a masterpiece.
Anyway, creative and patient pursuit. I would say the fact that everything happened by text is creative in itself. Because most
Okay.
people, especially teenagers, well, maybe not in today's world, in the world of electronics, where we didn't have that, I think it was a creative way to get to know each other. It was a little catfishy of her to...
A little.
Listen,
That's the definition.
But you understand why she did, because if she
Definitely.
would have outed herself, he would have been like... Actually, they didn't go to the
Which
same
he does
school, so he
admit
wouldn't
to.
have known who she was anyway. So
Well, he admits to that later. That he probably
don't
wouldn't
be
have
jumping
noticed.
ahead. That's part of another
Don't control
criteria.
my podcast.
That's another part of
Guys. Keep
Anyway,
love.
this one I don't have a strong argument for, and I'm okay with not having full pointage on. I think that
There was a
it has
lot of
some.
creativity in her pursuit. His was just responding to what was happening, right? So
which is why I'm okay with not
not
full
so
pointage.
much, but her creativity is cloaked in a total catfish
Deception.
for sure, and it goes to crazy levers, where
Right,
she's got
They're teenagers.
voiceovers.
They do stupid things.
Yeah, a blindfolded kiss, like wild stuff
that
that's
was kinda
happening.
crazy.
I mean, if you count the hand,
All right.
whatever. Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's worthy of at least half. There's creative. It's but she's not the one actually pursuing him in his brain, right? I don't know. It's a weird
in
thing.
his brain, he's pursuing Veronica, not Sierra.
Right.
So you really don't see. It's kind of weird because it's like he's pursuing her, but he thinks she's somebody else. So it's not really him pursuing her, but it is her words.
He's
and who she
pursuing
is.
her personality, Sierra Burgess's personality, and
character.
Because he
Character.
likes that.
but he thinks he's pursuing someone else's person.
Yeah.
So let's call it half and move on. But because that's valid. But what do you want to start with? Mix it up a little bit.
All right. Let's see. What do you want to do? Mixin'. I think I want to.
It's getting real weird in here.
I want to do. I guess I'll go from the bottom. So cute moments that show they know each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not good at.
And you're a
remembering
super
stuff.
fan, so you know what that means. I don't have to explain it, right?
Right. Well, we'll see. Okay. So I think there's more on his part than her part. And I think wrote down 3. The first one I thought of is whenever they actually go on their first date, which is at the movie theater. He is sitting next to Veronica, who is the actual cheerleader, not Sierra. She's sitting behind them. And he says to her, your voice, what do you say?
Your voice sounds
Your voice
skinny.
sounds skinny, which was alluding to a conversation they had whenever she first started talking to him. He's like, your voice sounds different than I remember it. And he said, it sounds more fuller. And she's like, are you calling my voice fat? And so whenever they sat down, he's like, your voice sounds skinnier. And of course, Veronica has no idea what he's talking about. She's like, all right. And then he tries to go through like, remember we had this? And she's just staring. I'm like, no, I got nothing. So that was showing that he remembers the conversation.
Yeah, and in that's relevant because in the first phone conversation I had, not a text,
Right.
it was 4 hours long, and at the end of it, he said, I think I could pick your voice out of a lineup.
Right.
So that's when he heard her voice, Veronica's voice, who is not
like,
Sierra.
does not match it.
Yeah, he was having a.
Because she has more of a manly voice, like me. See? I'm going somewhere.
All right.
See,
We're going somewhere. And then he brings her a sunflower later, which will come into play later. That's something that shows that he knows her. And then the other one, I would say on her part, which I don't know, this might be reaching, but I'm going to go for it. When she's hiding under the car, listening to their conversation, and he's talking about the stars, Veronica has no idea about the stars. And so she's texting her what to say based on a conversation that they had about the stars because she knows he loves them. And so she feeds her the lines of what to say to him, whatever. And then the last one I had for that was at the end, whenever they actually kiss after they're done, he says, have we done this before? Because of the blindfolded kiss, he knew her lips. That's a bit of a heart squeeze.
we're not to that
Falls
one
into
yet.
another
What?
category.
So what do you think?
It's a point. Well, and the other one was I thought I had. Well, no, it's more of a heart squeeze. I'll save it. Yeah, it's a point.
It is interesting though because with the pursuit and the cute moments, it's all done from one side. It's all done via proxy. Like it's not. It's weird. It's like this relay, and you just have to watch the movie to understand what's happening. And I would recommend it. It was.
I'm surprised to
a
hear you
good
say
movie.
that, honestly.
It was a good movie. I wouldn't say I was entertained though, which is odd. It's
Yeah.
just it's got some depth to it.
It's moving.
Interesting.
I'm a deep
Interesting
person.
movie. Yeah.
Right. I think it's a full point for me.
Okay, so we're sitting at a 1.5 currently. Let's do Out of Place, which I think
Come on, son.
we can probably save some time here. We're nearing the halfway point. There's quite a bit of this belonging thing. So what do you want to point to though?
I think I'll just point out one on each side. Obviously, she's out of place. She is considered the dork, the nerd, whatever. And then he even though he's a quarterback of his school's football team, he hangs out with the nerds because he doesn't really fit in with the jocks because he's a jock in body but not in
And he said
spirit.
that in one of their conversations.
Yes,
he
he
said,
did.
I don't think
So
I'm a jock.
They're both kind of out of place within their respective groups, but
Never mind. I just thought of another cute moment that actually know each other, but
we're past
keep
that.
it
I already
rolling.
got the point.
sorry.
No, I think, I mean, belonging, that's a point. She's out of place. I mean, you don't need anything other than her being out of place. She doesn't fit in, and she has her own story. Like I said, there's so much depth to this. I mean, you think Sierra Burgess's parents, and you meet them, you get to know them. Then you meet Veronica's parents, her mom.
Yeah.
And there's so much depth in that regard, but the out of place for sure. She doesn't fit in. She is wildly out of place and wildly confident as well.
In some areas, yes.
Yeah, it's really, again, and
She's
maybe
very
that's
insecure,
why I
but
like
she's
it.
very secure in others.
I think I like the depth of the psychology in this movie, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, the bully, you can tell, I think when Veronica, she's bullying her, makes these marks, and she's just kind of like, are you done? Kind of like, and she's kind of like, why aren't
at
you
one
bothered?
point she calls her Frodo, like trying to bash her, and she's like, I think you meant Quasimodo.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like, I mean, it hurt
Right.
because she has insecurity, but it's kind of like
Right.
she
not gonna
didn't
show
let
you
her
that you
have
hurt
that
me,
power.
type
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, so 2.5 points. What are you going to do?
I'll go to giddy girly heart squeeze moments just because I want to talk about it already. I'm not patient. Well, I am.
So does that mean you want to start?
No, you're the guest.
So I'm guessing we're getting a point.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So, I mean, as they get to know each other through the text conversation, and then once they actually talk, there's just multiple throughout. So I didn't list all of them because we'd be here all night. The biggest heart squeeze.
She just had one.
No, I literally watched Amelia during this part of the movie, even though she's trying to hide her face so she wouldn't see it, because it's the biggest heart squeeze of the whole movie. But towards the end, so she does something terrible.
Terrible.
Yes. And so, which will fall under redemption. But he shows up to her house. It's homecoming night. He shows up to her house. She comes out, and they're talking about, he's like, listen, what you did was bad. It was really bad. He's like, but, I get it. And she basically says, don't you ever feel like the whole world is conspiring against you type thing. Then he says this. So, he says,
We have a
honestly,
first ever quote
yes.
on
And
Feelings
I
in
had to type it
Flannel.
out because I knew I'd botch
Say
it.
it with passion, right
I'm
here.
gonna.
Right here's your camera.
I'm gonna. Well, the part that needs to be deadlocked will be deadlocked. He said, honestly, had we not met the way we had, maybe I wouldn't have noticed you. I mean, you're not exactly everybody's type. And she's like, gee, thanks. And then he says, but you're my type. You're exactly my type. And it's like,
It's getting a little blurry over
dang.
here.
who doesn't want to hear
This
that?
movie makes me cry.
Getting a little blurry over here.
It's so
And that,
cute.
like, you just stop breathing for a little bit because he's a good actor
Oh
in that
yeah,
moment.
I stopped breathing for a hot second.
I know you did.
And it's the actor from To All
And
the...
then,
Sorry.
after that, he then pulls out a sunflower, which is relevant because there's a song that she wrote about her being a sunflower and like a sea of roses, basically, is the gist of it. He pulls out a sunflower, and I can't say the exact quote because we'd have to bleep it out, but
Go for
he
it.
says, for the record, I think roses are the witchy supermodels of flowers.
And
Because, and then he hands her the sunflower.
that's also kind of a cute moment that show they know each other.
Yes, I said that earlier.
Oh,
the
right.
sunflower.
I wasn't. Oh, yes. Forgive my memory.
Forgiven.
It's blurry.
Yeah.
Your eyes are sweaty.
Man, let me tell you, this movie, it's definitely more of my alley because it's more rom than com. And there's enough comedy where I laugh, but I don't, there could be a movie without comedy and a romance movie and I'd be all right. A Walk to Remember, Exhibit A. Anyways, not bitter about that anymore.
Clearly.
So, that part gets me every time because
Every
it's just like,
time.
I love that he's honest about it because people are like, oh, I would have noticed you. No, he probably wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't.
Because she's not this model type like Veronica was, like he was going after.
Right.
So that's just real, especially in high school.
Right. Well, and she had just had the like breakdown after coming back from doing her horrible thing, where she walks
my
into
gosh.
her parents' house and like breaks down about, you know.
Can you imagine? I can't even say it. I'll start crying.
No, exactly.
Let's not go
I'm
there.
not a crier, but if I go into that, I'll probably start crying.
Yeah.
We don't need to see that on camera.
It hits deep.
Once they start, they don't stop.
So I
It
like
cuts deep,
this.
like a machete in a bush.
Yeah. No.
Don't.
Anyway, so the Gideon Girlie's definitely there. And I told Dad, because I was trying to hide my face from you the whole time, because it's not fair that we watch this movie with our guests, because they give away our secrets.
true.
And I do not, if any of you know me, I do not have a poker face. I never will.
No.
I cannot lie. I cannot hide what
If
I'm
they've
feeling.
watched more than one episode, they know that.
That's true.
That's a good point. Anyways, so I was
Moving on.
trying to hide my face from her, but I told Dad the whole, it's not 4-hour scene, but the 4-hour conversation they have like on the phone, that whole scene, it's what, 5 minutes? It's a lengthy scene because they're talking and getting to know each other, and there's a lot of heart squeezes just in that. And I looked at Dad, I was like, that whole scene was a heart squeeze. Because I'm like, it's just so cute because, you know, they're just honest, and it's just beautiful. Love is beautiful. It's just, I love it.
So, half point?
Nice
Maybe
try.
a quarter.
I think it was like worth 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I'm just kidding.
Thank you. Full point.
Full point, yeah.
Moving on.
Definitely.
All right, so I genuinely forgot how many points we're at.
That's not good because we're not good at this.
Gideon Girly, cute moments, out of place,
There's a half.
creative and
somewhere.
patient was half.
So
So
3.5.
So 3.5 points. And now we're down to redemptive for me. So redemptive component.
Yep. So she does something really bad. So I'll just say
Ah,
with that.
yes. Redemptive.
I'll pull a junior. Ah, yes. Redemptive
That's
component.
part of the whole thing.
So she, because she was pretending, or the cheerleader was pretending to be her and Jamie, who is the guy, actually run into each other at a football game. And because he thinks that this is who he's been talking to this whole time, it's natural for him. He just kisses her. Well, Sierra happens to look out the window at that moment and see them kissing and is infuriated, thinking, oh, Veronica, who I've now become friends with, has just backstabbed me. Because, you know, teenagers, that's what they do.
And women.
And women. So we can say that. We're women.
I did not say that. I want to be clear.
I'm a woman. I can say it.
So anyway, how she gets back at her is she logs into, like, it's probably the equivalent of Instagram, and posts something that is mortifying to the cheerleader on, like, that sends it out to her 20,000 followers because she's got 20,000 followers but following none. So it goes out to all those fans.
That was weird.
Following none.
That's what she said. But then some random guy, like, plugs it into the computer and puts it on, like, the jumbotron of the high school football game or whatever. And so it, you know, embarrasses her, and then it turned into an ugly thing, and that was the whole big blow up. So she did a terrible thing, and the cheerleader then says to her, you are always talking about how mean I am, because she was mean. She said terrible things to Sierra Burgess. But she's like, but basically you did this, and you're this. What did she say?
She said, this isn't even the ugliest thing about you. Your looks aren't even the ugliest thing about you.
Yeah, something to that effect. So it's still like basically saying you're ugly, but that's not the ugliest thing about you. Like, this was way uglier.
So what she said was,
I should have typed
your
it out.
looks are the least ugly thing about you.
Yes, I even knew that. I should have typed it out, but
Wow, did you watch this movie?
In
This
the
is
moment,
basically
it was
how
like,
conversations
what did
go
I
at
say?
home. This is basically our home conversations. You get a sneak peek.
so anyway, yeah, that. And so where was I going with that? Redemption. Okay, so she does something terrible that then pushes Jamie away, because then he realizes, because they're both on the field with him at the same time, he recognizes her voice because he
Cute
can pick
moment.
it out of a lineup. And then Veronica, who is visually who he thought he was talking about, they're standing next to each other. They out each other, whatever. He gets mad, walks away. So now she's lost Jamie, who she's gotten close with, and Veronica, who she's become really good friends with.
And her friend.
And her best friend, which, what was his name?
I don't remember.
Started with a D. Anyway, Dan. Her best friend was like, I can't even believe you did this. I don't even know who you are anymore. You've turned into a mean girl, basically. So she's lost all those people. Then the redemptive component is, obviously, Jamie comes back. She shows up at her house, takes her to homecoming, has the, you're exactly my type moment. And then Dan forgives her before that. And then at the end, Veronica also forgives her at the dance. They hug it out and all is well. So, and then Veronica becomes a good person. Like, she was a not so nice person through pretty much the entire movie, but she became nice at the end.
So I think this has a full point for redemptive. So we're at 3.5.
4.5.
We're at 4.5 right now. I think it has a full point for redemptive, but not really for what you outlined, because she did a horrible thing, but her view of herself didn't change. Her view of other people didn't change. She did a horrible thing and then had to make it right and mend some relationships. However, Veronica, her view of people changed.
Right.
And
because only losers hang out with losers.
That's
was like
enough to pull it through, because she becomes a good person. Like, that's the redemptive that fits probably the way we've outlined it all along. But it's there.
I feel like her view of Mean Girl changed because she realized you're not just mean because you're mean. She has reasons. Watching their family, we were
true.
stressed
That's
out.
true.
I was like, I need to like fast forward through the scene
Yeah,
because
for
it's
real.
chaotic. So you kind of see she's like, oh, you're just hurting because she has a crappy home
people
life.
hurt people.
Remember that. So I would say,
Or hurting people hurt people. I
Yeah.
don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
You're not real
Moving
good
on.
with the quotes, are you?
It's like Heather. We don't nibble on our kitties. We don't eat our cats. Anyway, it's the whole thing.
okay, well,
Nobody
shout out
has
to my
any
sister.
idea what that means.
My sister Heather will understand that.
from Kings, I think it was Miss Jones always said, "Be kind because you never know the battle." Wait, I'm sorry, Miss Jones. I remember
She was so confident with it. And then
it was
she's
like, "Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle." Kind of like, just be kind because you don't know what people are going through. But that doesn't mean if you're going through crappy things, you can treat people like dirt. That's also the other side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
So full point for redemptive,
Right.
no doubt, and lots of angles on that. That leaves us with
the shift.
The shift.
Bum, bum,
Literally,
bum.
they say it in the movie that it's a moment, like, because that's what you said the shift is. So, they're in Sierra and her best friend Dan are in the park picking up trash, because they're just good people.
Community service, actually, for their resume.
Yes, but it's not because they're in trouble. It's like they're bolstering their resume.
Oh,
So they're doing
right.
community service in the park picking up trash. Jamie and his little brother are in the park playing football. And she realizes, oh gosh, he's here. And Dan's like, oh, this is him? This is the guy? And so he goes over and starts talking to him, pulls her into the conversation. She freezes, which I can identify with. I'd be like, I'm right here from him now.
Especially him, because he's a fine specimen. God did good work on that one.
Anyway.
It's the guy from To All the Boys I Loved Before.
Anyway.
He's good looking.
Anyway.
he's all right.
He's aight. So she freezes and pretends to be deaf, not knowing that his little brother actually is deaf, and she pretends to sign language. And he's like, "Oh, here, let me talk to my little brother," and then and it doesn't go well. So she never says a word, but he introduces himself, and they shake hands, and there's a moment when they shake hands, and then whenever they get back in the car, Sierra and Dan get back in the car, he was like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe this is happening or whatever. And she's like, we had a moment, which is what the shift is. So
Yeah.
I don't even need more than that, because that's a shift and a moment. Don't even try to take it away.
It's just hard.
She doesn't
'cause
own you. You have your own
I
apartment.
co-created you.
Help. What's that? Help. The wasabi. Anyway, I'm gonna focus, Amelia. Focus. it's hard because I'm trying, okay? It's hard because like he doesn't know who she is other than this random deaf girl he just met.
Are you trying not to cry? Is that what's happening?
Don't call me out. So anyway, it's not like a shift in their relationship. I don't know. I feel like he had a moment of being like, I don't really know what it was because I don't know if it's like this supposed to be like this weird like I know you somehow, but I don't know how I know you kind of a thing because it's not. He has no idea. That's the first time he's
But
ever
they hold
met her.
hands, they shake for a long moment and just stare into each other's eyes.
Yeah. But it's hard because it's like they don't interact ever after that. So it's not like their relationship shifted because they didn't have one really because he didn't even know who she was. I put that under the category of giddy girly.
I'll concede a half a point.
Oh, yay. Listen, you don't decide what happens
Because
here.
you said the shift is a moment that's obvious. She literally gets in the car and says, "We had a moment."
No, it's not a full point. Sorry.
I didn't say a full point. I'm saying I will concede a half a point, which means I get a half a point.
It means you wait until we decide how many points you get.
What do
you wanna
they
do?
meet. Okay, they actually meet. While on the football field, he's like, "Wait, your voice." Mm-hmm. And so then he gets mad and stomps away. And then they actually meet, and he has that thing. So I don't know. I guess a half, but definitely not a full.
I'll take the half.
Because it's
5
a weird
points
shift.
going into the bonus.
And the soundtrack, I don't remember the soundtrack, to be honest.
The soundtrack, at least on yours, it had to fit the vibe, which it does.
True.
But I think the Sunflower song that she wrote and then sings makes it worth at least a half a point. Because it's the entire wrap up of the movie, and it's such a good song.
Yeah,
It's
I
so
actually
deep.
added it to my soundtrack of love playlist.
Okay, well, there you go. There's at least
Which
half
is
point.
my-
It
Oh,
doesn't-
yeah, because
it
Amelia doesn't
fit-
add every song under the planet.
But it's not iconic, which is what your, I think, soundtrack,
No, I said classic.
classic, whatever.
Classic.
But either way, it fits the vibe. And towards the end, it did kind of sound like an 80s movie, which,
It did.
we both love.
I think I don't argue with a half a point.
Me
There was enough in there to, a couple bops.
Bringing it back, pulling it in from season 1.
Yeah, I think half a point. So 5.5 points, which unfortunately doesn't make the top 5.
Right?
But I don't think that was your point
It was not.
anyways. And I would say if there's any real value, it's introducing the audience to a movie that is got incredible depth to it. And there are funny parts and there's romance if you're into that.
And there's some
I will say
inappropriate
this
parts
though,
and some like
guys aren't going to want to sit and watch this movie.
I would agree with that.
So I don't know if that's a win or not, but I enjoyed it.
It can open your eyes.
I think if you do watch it, there is some language and there's some inappropriate parts because it's teenagers in this day and age and they do different things than we did. So
All right, Amy just made it sound like you should watch it with the fast forward button in
that's
your
what I'm
hand.
saying,
That's
but I'm
not
just
what
saying,
happened.
if you watch it and you're like, I can't believe Amy's endorsing this, kind of like a Mike Jr. moment. But I am because it's good.
Hey, I
you
turned
can,
out
You know
fine.
what you can tell those people.
Suck it. Anyway, so now, so you asked me the question in the beginning.
Yep,
Why did you pick this movie?
it's 32
yeah.
minutes,
Okay.
33 minutes.
You asked me, what's the goal?
30.
Oh, well, crap. Well, anyway.
The goal is make it quick.
Oh, well, crap. So you asked me. And so I'm thinking, if you do watch this, you're going to think, why did you pick a movie full of teenage drama and angst? And I'll tell you
Especially
why.
if they know you.
Exactly. And I'll tell you why. Because, and I probably have to read some of this because I'll forget. The first time I ever watched this movie, I was by myself. And I cried pretty much all the way through it because I resonated so much with Sierra because I was not popular in school at all, not even close. So at junior high, it was very difficult for me. So I cried most of the way through it. And then this is what's cool. So I met Adam in my senior, well, it's
Am I
technically my
gonna have
junior
heart
year, but I
squeeze?
graduated early. Oh, you're gonna have a heart squeeze.
Am I gonna cry?
Maybe he was a senior. He was a jock, total jock. I was a total book nerd. We, in any stretch of the imagination, should have never ended up together. Would that be agreeable?
I wasn't there. Why are you looking at
I'm
me?
not. But whenever I was like a Sierra, he was like a Jamie. Like the world as a whole would not put us together. So, anyway, and so I was not a rose, is what I'm saying. Like the whole thing, I was not a rose by any standards. But he saw past all that and chose me for what I was inside. I was a sunflower in a sea of roses, and Adam was my Jamie. Heart squeeze.
Okay, it's getting blurry again.
It's getting blurry again.
Oh my gosh, that was
I
so
think
beautiful.
that's why I resonated whenever I watched it the first time. I was like, oh my gosh, this is us.
Well, I think there's part of that has to be why it is a movie that I enjoyed, but can also say I don't think other guys would want to watch this, and it's not really that funny. Is because when you're watching it, when I was watching it, much like you, thinking, wow, this is familiar. So
Right.
yeah, I mean,
Because
I
he even
get down
had
on
friends
it.
telling him, dude, why are you even dating this girl? She is you are way out of her league, basically, which was true. But, you know,
Well,
I had my qualities. They just weren't looks.
I want you to know
Brace yourself.
you are my type, my perfect type.
No, you're exactly my type.
Sorry.
Back it up.
And their perfect type created a perfect me. And my brother.
And on that note, we are our overtime. But
My apologies.
No, that's all right. Thank you for sharing that. That was deep. I thought you were going to cry there for a minute.
Not on camera.
Because then she won't stop.
Yeah, that's true.
Episode 8 in the books. 3 more episodes for season 2. Thanks for bringing it.
It's already been brought in.